maybe they was right. I was wrong. So then I took that on. So yeah, I took that on, man, and like I started helping kids.
Welcome to Nonprofit Voices, brought to you by the Michigan Nonprofit Relief Fund, a $32.5 million grant program to support small nonprofits with less than $1 million in annual revenue that incurred demonstrable expenses or losses after March 3rd, 2021, after the pandemic. If that's you, apply. The link is in the description. This series is a short talk with the leaders of Michigan's nonprofit community, hence Nonprofit Voices. I'm your host, Shannon Kaysen. I'm a storyteller and podcaster, but this episode is not about me. Today's episode is about...
My name is Dell Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Equal Access to Training, a 501c3 nonprofit located in Saginaw Bay County, Michigan.
Equal Access to Training provides valuable athletic personal training for all student athletes. And all meaning even if you can't afford expensive personal training. But Dell can explain it much better.
Well, our organization is kind of built around sports, but it's mentoring as well, and trying to guide and get these young men and women to grow up and to be respectable, citizens that's doing something good in the community. So what we call is equal access to training. It's basically a sports training company, a sports training organization where we provide personal sports training, so individual training or group training. We provide coaches. So basically, if you're playing football or you're playing baseball or basketball, and you need some help in that area as far as skill development or strength and conditioning, we provide those trainers for you, those coaching for you. Because basically how we feel is that the playing field is not level when you looking at the wealthier students who have access to gyms and facilities and different trainers and stuff like that, and there's a lot of kids and a lot of young women and girls, or women and boys who have potential, but they don't have the guidance or the trainers to help push them along. So we feel like that's what our organization is about. And we call ourselves E.A.T, no pun intended, but we want everyone to be able to reap the benefits of training.
Everyone has a right to eat. And this training is personal for Dale, because when he was coming up, he was a pretty good athlete himself.
I always hung around with like older kids, and I was the shorter one. Then like one summer, I sprouted up. I got to be like 6'4", so I was like taller than all the other kids. And right at this time, I was like 6'2", but the coach noticed me. He saw one of my games, and he was like, "Man, I really like you, man. I want to invite you to AAU practice." He was a really good coach too, a good mentor. And I went out for the team, and he put me on the team, and I kind of got a lot of confidence from that, man. He really kind of set me, it kind of got me rolling to the point where I really thought I could, be somebody important. So I kind of took off from that, and kept playing and kept learning. Had a lot of great coaches in my life, a lot of discipline type coaches that I feel is needed, for a young man, especially a young black man in the city.
Coaches and mentors are necessary. They shape the following generation. Let's get a little deeper with Dale to find out exactly what led him to coaching and mentoring.
You don't really understand it at the time you're going through it, though. You don't realize the type of mentoring or the type of advice you are getting from adults. You kind of take it for granted, and then later on in life you start thinking like, man, he was telling me something and it clicked. So it was kind of with me. I didn't really get it right then, but yeah, at one point when I was in college, I started to think like, man, maybe they was right. I was wrong. So then I took that on. So yeah, I took that on, man, and I started helping kids, and now I see that, I can tell you stories now. I see that when kids come back and kids is doing some of the same things that I'm doing and talking the same way I talk. And it's like, I'm talking the same way some of my coaches talk, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like passing it along, makes you feel good when you see that and hear that, because you're trying to do something positive. Like I had a couple of cousins and stuff that was under me that was looking up to me, and I started showing them how to play and seeing them improve and get on the team. And I don't know, it kind of like I just kind of like that feeling of helping somebody get to a certain point and get over the hump. It's just, it's a good feeling to me personally to see you help somebody and then they succeed. So I kind of saw that earlier in life, and then as I got older, it just kept coming back to me that, man, this is what you really like doing is helping, helping others. So it's genuine with me, man. I really do like it. Some people might say they do and don't, but I actually do like helping, trying to get others better.
Equal access to training makes sports training accessible for everyone, regardless of background, income, or any challenges that make it difficult to get the training desired. Dell gets into how E.A.T started.
Well, I was working with an organization called CoachUp.com. That's a national platform where they provide trainings and stuff for athletes, for a different fee. You can log on to their website and find a coach in your area by putting in the zip code, and they'll set you right up with a coach, a personal coach. So I was doing that for a few years, working with a lot of kids. And like you say, I have a couple wealthy kids. They can afford a program. We can really work on things to get them better. But then I'll get kind of the underprivileged kids, and they make them do a training or two or one or two. And it always stuck to me like, man, this kid can be really good if he just can afford to, keep coming back. So that's what made me think, like, man, I need to come up with some type of nonprofit organization where we can try to get these kids some free training, help these kids out. So that's kind of where it came from, and playing around with the name about equal and access and that. And one day I said, oh man, we're gonna call it EAT. Let's eat, man. So we call it equal access training. Everybody can eat, and that's kind of how I started. Let me say our mission statement one time. So our mission is to provide equitable access to personal sports training for all student athletes furthest from opportunity, and to embed sport and physical activity to aspects of everyday life. So basically what we want to do is we want to try to help kids or even adults too, to tell you the truth, use sports as a tool to be active and to also be more confident in what you do. Sports is terrific for getting people to come together and all that. And we want to use sports to mentor kids and, all other aspects of life. So sports is the tool, and everything else will fall in line after that. But education, um, all those different things that we know kids really need is very important to us. But we like to use sports as a way to will them in.
In March 2020, everyone's lives change. This includes the nonprofit world. The sector that gives the most were still giving at the worst of times, even when they may have been in need themselves. Equal access to training was growing fast going into 2020. But when March came, well, we all know what eventually happened.
Man, we was booming. We was booming. Like we had so many kids, man. We had programs going. We was, I didn't have much time during that time because I had a lot of stuff going on with the kids. We was training a lot, and when that COVID hit, it was just like, bam, man, just everything just dropped. It was hard. It was like it was something we wasn't expecting and never been through. So it was, how it was. Everybody trying to figure it out. We didn't really know how to handle that situation, man, because it was so new. But we was booming, man. We really was. But everything shut down, yeah, because we ended up getting our status, which was right then. So, and the fundraising and stuff shut down because we didn't have the kids. The parents was, reluctant to let their kids, train and come to different facilities. So we converted to doing online training, which worked in some instances. But still, you got underserved kids who couldn't really do the internet thing. They couldn't afford or whatever to do the internet thing. So it left another group out again. So it was a very tough situation where it really killed our momentum. Like I said, everything went up. Prices went up, gas prices, food went up, groceries went up. So it was very tough trying to serve the kids we were serving without the funding and the ability to actually get the funding. So it was very hard, and we was lucky. We ended up getting some help through one of the Bay County. They helped us out with a grant, kept us afloat, and that really helped us to stay afloat while the pandemic was going.
The Michigan Nonprofit Relief Fund is a statewide grant program to support nonprofits that suffered due to the pandemic. I asked Dell to share his thoughts about this grant opportunity.
Man, I think this is an excellent idea, man. I serve on the board for the Rubiks. I'm also on the regional nonprofit board. So I've been seeing this since it started. I've been seeing how it's unfolded and seeing all the behind the scenes. And this is like what they say is true. Everything they saying about this grant is true. They letting the people actually decide, and they letting all the nonprofit, the people work on all the behind the scenes stuff. Is like kind of fascinating to be a part of it, because you're always trying to apply for grants, but you never know how it actually works or how you get chosen, all that type of stuff. So this has really been a eye opener, a learning experience to be part of this, and I think it's going to be great for the state of Michigan, because they have a lot of money that they're willing to give out as long as you apply and take the right steps. I think it's enough money for everyone, because a lot of these nonprofits went through similar things like I did, and some even worse, to the point where the pandemic has put a hindrance on their business operations and stopped them from fundraising, stopped them from making money, and this help from M&A will help them get back on their feet as far as running their programs. If you need to hire additional employees, and it's not a whole lot of money, but you can apply for $5,000 to $25,000. That's enough to get a program back going or to stay afloat. So M&A is doing a wonderful job right now, man, and we excited about this right now.
Equal Access to Training is based in Saginaw Bay County, Michigan, right in the web of our thumb. Dell ended our talk by highlighting some of the standout athletes from the city and his vision and mission for his hometown.
Well, our community, it's kind of a sports town, especially when you're looking at basketball and football. We had a few pro athletes that came out of here, like Jason Richardson, Draymond Green, guys like that who really, put a stamp in the city as far as progressing from sports. And so we have a lot of like underprivileged kids too. I would say it's a kind of a underserved community when you're looking at the income rates, the income levels. We kind of on the lower end in that aspect, and we also get a lot of flack for crime. We know, a lot of people like to have us known for crime and stuff like that, but honestly, it's a really well community. We got a lot of good, upstanding people, upstanding citizens that really try to do good for the community and their kids and all that. So we get a kind of bad rap in that aspect, but that's part of it. And, that's kind of what equal access, man. We want to try to change this narrative about Saginaw and Flan and Bay City. It's just being a crime area where it's not. We got a lot of good people, a lot of good kids, so we want to kind of try to help these kids reach their potential and change this narrative about us.
To find out more about Dell Johnson and his work at Equal Access to Training, contact them at equalaccesstotraining.com. If you are a Michigan nonprofit organization, apply for the Michigan Nonprofit Relief Fund. This is a $32.5 million grant program to support small nonprofits with less than $1 million in annual revenue that incurred demonstrable expenses or losses after March 3rd, 2021, due to the pandemic. The Michigan Nonprofit Relief Fund is being administered by the Michigan Nonprofit Association, M&A, and the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, LEO. Nonprofits do not have to be a member of M&A to apply for or receive grant funding, and applications will close on Friday, May 5th, 2023 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. To access the application, go to minonprofitrelief.org and look for the banner that says Michigan Nonprofit Relief Fund. And make sure you subscribe for more Michigan Nonprofit Voices podcasts. I'm Shannon Kaysen. Talk to you soon.